On our last camping trip, I thought I had a dead battery, but upon checking it out, it seemed like the battery was okay. I checked my breakers, I checked my fuses, they were all okay. It was suggested I look for a black reset switch on the converter. I never found it on my model. So I thought I better get my meter out and just start checking everything from the battery forward. It didn't take me long to figure out the next item in line was this switch, and it wasn't getting any readings whatsoever. So this was my problem. I thought about just buying a new switch, but upon further inspection, I found that a spider had built a web inside of this tube here. So I just needed to clean it out with some alcohol. As long as I had the switch out, I figured I'd clean up all the contacts with a wire brush and a little alcohol also. I didn't think it could hurt. Of course, I wanted to make sure the contacts on the red handle switch were also nice and clean. While I was at it, I figured I'd clean the washers, nuts, and screws. They were a little hard to get off, and I wanted installation to go back smoothly. Here's a little mock-up I made with an RC battery, just to make sure that the switch was in working order and getting the right voltage. When reinstalling the switch, you want to make sure it's in the proper orientation before you screw it back on. So on is in the on position and off is in the off position. You also just want to double check to make sure it goes in properly, so you can remember the top post was for my battery wires and the bottom post was for everything that went to the camper. And here's what it looked like when it was all bolted back together. You also want to remember to put the lanyard for the red switch back on. I forgot to do that, so I had to undo this one bolt and reinstall. I put a piece of blue painter's tape on all the wires that went to the top post. That way I could easily identify which wires needed to be reinstalled. And the wire that went to the rig went on the bottom, and I installed that. And here's what the final assembly looked like. Now it's time to reconnect the battery. Then it's time to reinstall your key switch and turn to the on position. Let's flip some switches and see what comes on. I have to admit, I would never have attempted such a repair had it not been for my model railroad hobby. Model railroading has taught me a lot of things, and a lot of people think that trains just go in circles, but it's taught me how to do construction in my bench work. It's taught me a whole lot about electricity for the track and the trains and all the accessories, and it's also brought out some hidden artistic abilities I didn't know I had. So if you have young children, or even if you don't have children, I would encourage you to look at model railroading as a fun adventure where you can learn a lot of things too.